Maverick traders, welcome out to your market roundup for June 10th. Corey here with you. As always, we're going to take a look at meaningful news in the markets. We're going to look at how sectors are moving, how money's rotating, what's hot, what's not, and then always try to highlight our very best trade ideas.
Disclaimer. This video was created for professional stock and option traders. Maverick Trading is a proprietary trading firm that employs professional traders around the world. Our traders trade firm capital and keep 70 to 80% of profits they generate. All trades and analysis in this video are for professional traders only. If you are interested in becoming a professional trader for Maverick, click the apply button in the video description. Let's break down what happened today.
So today was kind of interesting in that the markets really didn't do much, but oil, which had been beaten down for some time, had a nice sharp bounce back. So you can see equities pretty much up about 0.25%, but oil up almost 3.5%. Gold with a little bit of a bounce back. This finished very, very poorly in precious metals. Now, daily news: Nvidia completed its 10-for-1 stock split. Pretty much went sideways following that in its first day post split. And then Apple had its WWDC 24, and this is where they launch and talk about new products. They announced Apple Intelligence. They announced that Siri will have Chat GPT and some different aspects like that, certainly with an AI focus. Advanced decline line, about 55% of stocks going up, so kind of a half and half day for the most part, but mildly bullish. 50-period moving average, again, we're still not seeing a big robust rally. We need this to broaden out. We need other sectors to pick up the slack, but right now 53% of stocks above the 50 MA, 47% below. As we take a closer look at the S&P, the chart itself looks pretty strong, looks fine. We kind of based for a couple of days and tried to work our way higher here. You got to give credit where credit is due. We talked about this on this pullback. This was kind of the make or break area for the markets where as we pull back, pullbacks are normal. This is where they shake people out and shake people's conviction. And you saw this huge reversal on a Friday. And what did we do? We did not create a lower pivot high and roll over and so forth. Instead, we've gone right back up to new highs. It just looks and acts well, and for now the trend is intact. So look at the NASDAQ, we've broken out to new highs. We're kind of basing here, but still looks like there's more buying pressure under this market than selling pressure, quite clearly. So Apple with a little bit of a down day going into the WWDC meeting. The rest of the sectors and so forth, certainly a little bit more green in energy with the strong day in oil, and then little pockets. I mean, Tesla and AMD had rough days, but for the most part, just a little bit more hit or miss. Nothing that really stands out on the heat map. Now, as we look at the weekly and monthly outlooks, you're just in a standard uptrend. We're above the 20, above the 50, climbing higher. We're trying not to overthink it too much right here, right now. So as far as bullish and bearish candidates, just a mixed picture, nothing of really significance in terms of sector outlook. But let's look at a couple of our bulls and a couple of our bearish charts. First, on the bull side, I've got Snap. Now, this was a huge breakaway gap, and even though we haven't really gone much to the upside since, you can see how it's just gone sideways. That's pretty good given that when you gap from 11 to 14, that's a huge percentage, and it has left this gap open. Sure, we've consolidated, but this is the pause that can refresh, and it has sort of that rounded bottom type of shape that looks like it could be forming. So what I would think is if we can break to a new pivot high, and you can see how we've just kind of stalled right here, if we can just start to take out those highs, to my eye, it looks like we're going to work our way right back up to prior highs here in the not too distant future at 17 and change. So I'm looking for just get back above the 20, just continue to show us that this is rounding out the bottoming process. A little push above Friday's high would do it. Now, if we look at another bullish candidate, T-Mobile, this thing has broken out to the upside. Now we're just consolidating kind of a high base. And these charts are powerful when all you can do is go sideways after this much of an upside move. It tells you there's just real relentless buying there. So the more we can just kind of hang in at these prices, the higher and higher this thing is about to go. So unless we start to pull back immediately, I would anticipate more upside. On the flip side, if we look at bearish candidates, J&J stands out to me. So we came down to prior support and successfully bounced, but this doesn't look quite right. You've kind of gone back to that. You've had a small bounce, and to my eye, again, I look for patterns within patterns. You have downtrending price action below the 20, below the 50. You have a big bounce followed by smaller bounces, and I suspect that we're going to work our way below 144 and continue this downward trend down into the 130s. High 130s would be most likely. So I don't really give J&J a lot of credit for its recent bounce. I think this is sort of, if you drop a ball on the table, the initial bounces are a little larger and then subsequent bounces are smaller, and that's kind of this inverse cup and handle type of dynamic. So J&J, I think, is still more of a bearish candidate. Block, this company used to be known as blockchain, right? Or Square is what they used to be known as, pardon me. Now they're Block. Here we look at it similar, just downward trending below the 20, below the 50, and not really showing any signs of life. It still looks like it wants to continue to go lower. Don't overthink it. When things can't act well, even in a decent market environment like we've been in, well, trust the price action. This thing has some issues going on within the chart, and there's a lot of selling pressure, and it doesn't look like it's stopping anytime too soon. Uptrend remains intact for the broader markets. Breadth is still lacking, so it's still a trader's market where you can find some bulls, find some bears, and trade both sides of this with candidates. We've got CPI on Wednesday, and there's still these rumblings. How much will the Fed cut? It's just, inflation's important, but inflation is just not where the Fed wants it to be. So even though we've seen a couple of central banks blink and start to cut rates, and people say, well, is the Fed going to follow suit? They need to see inflation come down, and it's not near their target of 2%, not yet. Adobe, Autodesk, Broadcom, Oracle, Restoration Hardware. We've got some companies reporting, most of those more in the tech space. Hope you enjoyed today's market roundup. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next time.